Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
Bench mob, they're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. That rapper jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I ain't taking the L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. You glad the seats, now it's on the grow. Tuning now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my butter blow.
I ain't seen from now. Bowser really, I'm just trying to tell you.
Next my podcast. What's up, bro?
Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT. You already know the vibes. You know what to do. Share this, subscribe, like it, repost it. If you support black business, if you support black men, and if you like sports and you rocking with what we doing, y'all gotta make sure y'all do all those things for me. Greg, Mr. Hot Takes, Debate Your Mother, sends me in the building. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. KD's the MVP, you know.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
The Giants are losing a bunch of games and it's getting a better draft pick. That's how you got to look at it now. I don't know, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
And of
the
course,
Jets suck. The Knicks suck.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And then we got CJ. I mean, he just told us he's going on another vacation. CJ, where in the world are you, Carmen Sandiego? Money bags. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. It's a good year to be a Bengals fan. It's a good year to be a Cincy fan. Let me tell y'all, man. Cincinnati, December 31st, playing Alabama. We going for the upset. It's gonna be good, man. I'm gonna be in Florida. I wish I would have got tickets to this game. Yo, keep in mind, I honestly would have gone to that game. Me and my dad were about to buy tickets if I wasn't already gonna be in Florida.
It's probably the best that you don't go.
No, it probably is because
it's not gonna be
Alabama might really put it on us, but it's still cool that we're in the conversation for once.
I mean, that's great though, because that's a man of faith, because that takes faith to have any belief that y'all gonna have a chance at all with Alabama.
I mean, we're here for a reason. You gotta have a chance. We got one of the best secondaries in college football.
That's the way college football works. Like upsets don't happen in college football like that. It's not a thing.
Okay, but Alabama struggled in many games this year that they shouldn't have struggled in. There's games where they put up as little as 20 points.
Listen, you know college football, you bet Alabama, and you sleep easy at night betting Alabama.
That's fine. and look, for the sake of tradition, you're probably right. You know what I'm saying? Alabama probably gonna put it on us, but as a Cincy fan, you know I'm gonna have faith.
That's what I'm saying. You a man of faith, big time. To have, like they said, faith is in.
Regardless if they lose 40-3, they had an incredible year, and it's just great to be able to see them play on that stage.
There's gotta be a scripture about having unrealistic faith. This is crazy.
And of course, we are missing the fourth member of the squad tonight, Miles, who was out on health and safety protocols.
Probably RJ Barrett last night.
He doesn't have it. Just put that disclaimer out there. But Miles, Bing Bong, Knicks Tape Davenport, he is here in spirit. I'm sure we'll think of him at many different points.
Miles on a date right now. Can we stop the cap?
So we mentioned health and safety protocols. What are y'all thoughts with everything going on in sports right now? Like, should the NBA, should they take a break? Should the NFL postpone games? You know, we seen Baker Mayfield be very vocal about how the Cleveland Browns still have to play this weekend. What's y'all takes on everything that's going on with the Omarion variant, the Delta variant?
He said Omarion going crazy.
Omarion challenge. Omarion flapping his jacket and letting COVID loose everywhere. But they got to shut down the league for about a week. And the NBA, as far as that goes, I think the NFL, I mean, you're a 53-man roster. If you're down 20 guys, it definitely hurts you. I mean, the Browns are down 20 guys. I don't think most cases have been that severe or dramatic. I think Washington's down like 19 guys. So, you know, you got to consider it across both leagues. These cases are spreading. It's a real thing. It's getting more and more severe. So I would strongly consider going on a break. I would strongly consider going on a break in both leagues.
Yeah, I think you can, and I think you need to. I mean, we saw it today. The Rams had 9 more players test positive. We're seeing it in the NBA. We're seeing it across the NFL. But at the same time, too, like this is something that we're seeing across the country, like without sports. Like my profession and my job, we had 2 cases in the past 2 weeks, and I ain't gonna be seen in the office till till at least middle of January. But at the same time, like it's getting scary. It's the holidays. People are gonna be with their families and start gathering again. Like it's only gonna get worse from here, and hopefully, 2 years ago when we saw this first happen, it blew up around March, right? And we got to get we got to get it under control now to prevent it from getting crazy after the holidays.
People aren't dying from this though.
Nah, they said it's not the results that come from it isn't as bad as obviously when COVID first came around. In regards to what you just said of trying to make sure that we get ahead of this and slow everything down, it's not gonna happen. There's a lot of people still walking around acting as if they're vaccinated. There's still people that's gonna be going around that's not vaccinated, hanging around family members, people vaccinated getting. So I don't think it's ever gonna slow down. I think this is our life now.
I'll tell you this. I love what the league did today, though, and updated the policy, right? That's what you have to do when things get out of control like this and start trending in the wrong direction. You need to have a plan, and you need to implement that plan immediately, and that's what they did. They're making everybody wear masks in facilities, regardless if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, and, they switched from in-person meetings to remote meetings and things like that. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to affect, practice schedules and whatever the case is, but at least they're having a plan for when these players are in close contact with each other throughout the week. At least they're going to be wearing a mask. Hopefully, in their film study sessions, they're going to be sitting 6 feet apart, right? Back to how it was probably in training camp. So again, these players are used to it. They've gone through this all last year, so it shouldn't be any different for them. And hopefully, they're not bringing their loved ones around the facility and things like that, and they're keeping it professional wherever they go to avoid another big spread of this.
Complete sidebar. How's y'all on the in-ears? How's here? Y'all can hear it?
I can hear it.
It's good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. So, NFL, cream of the crop, rising to the top. We got the Chiefs back at the top. Big game going on right now. Chiefs playing the Chargers. It's on right now, which is why you saw his reaction right there.
You just got to pick.
In the AFC, who do y'all see getting that number 1 seed?
The way the Chiefs are playing, it's hard to go against them and say that it won't be them. But I don't know. Like, honestly, this is the weirdest year in football I've ever seen because you can't tell who the best team in the league is. I think it's the Packers, but I mean, you really can't tell. There's so much parity in the NFL, more parity than there ever has been, especially in the regular season. So I would say the Chiefs win out in the AFC and get that top spot because they're playing the best football right now and they're playing the best football league. But the Pats might not lose a game for the rest of the year either. Seriously. So I think it'll be either Pats or Chiefs, AFC, Pats or Chiefs.
Yeah, and I think we'll see that later on in the season. But I agree with you. I have to say the Chiefs, and we've been saying it for a while. The Chiefs have been hot, and they've been getting it going at the right time, right towards the end of the year, playing consistent. Patrick Mahomes has gotten better. Their defense has finally settled down and settled in. They're still not the greatest defense, and they still get in shootouts with teams. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs are a team that can put up points and compete with anybody. So I think the Chiefs are going to hold it down for the AFC.
I think the thing that's something to look out when we talk about the top seed in the AFC. One, the Chiefs defense has actually been the reason why they're on the win streak, which that's the scary part because if the offense actually matches up with how the defense has been playing, I think the league really is in trouble. And I think New England needs to get that number 1 seed. Tennessee, somebody else got to get that number 1 seed because if Kansas City gets that number 1 seed and they got to go through Arrowhead,
running tables,
they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Kansas City is back in the Super Bowl immediately, bro.
Now they might lose in the Super Bowl, but they're back.
Yeah, hey. Yeah.
They would probably lose in the Super Bowl.
We're going to get to the NFC. So, NFC, who's the number 1 seed in the NFC? Packers?
I think it's the Packers. I think especially after that Arizona's last loss, I don't think if the Rams are going to close the gap. But I think the Rams are coming together at the right time, and Odell is getting his touches, and it's starting to happen like I thought it would. But and that's the playoffs are a different discussion. But I think the Packers are the best team, the most complete team as long as Aaron Rodgers' toe can hold up, they should be fine. They'll be the top seed.
Yeah, I like the Rams, but I don't think the Rams are gonna be able to compete with the Packers. Just due to the fact that I don't think Sony Michel is going to hold down the run game for a long stretch of time for the Rams, and they need that balance in terms of having the run game to open up the passing game and be able to take some pressure off guys like Odell and Cooper Kupp. But when you look at the Packers, they are a complete team. We've seen them without their star running back Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon held it down. Like, they have two strong running backs that are both physical, that can both tote the rock, and then their wide receiver core. We know what that is with Devontae Adams, Valdez Scanlon, and their other receivers that they have going on. So, and then again, their defense. They have a great defense, and obviously they're well coached. So, and they've been in this position before.
So, you both said Green Bay. Are we not giving any shot to Tampa Bay, to the defending champs, to possibly get that number one seed?
I think you have to
be the number one seed. Yeah, they easily could be. I just don't want to see it, so I'm not going to pick it. It's that simple. I don't know why. I'm not gonna say it just because. Yeah, it's a possibility for everybody that's wondering, but I'm gonna go with the Packers. I think the Packers are the better team right now, I know Tampa's schedule is pretty light towards the end of the year, so they really could run the table and be the number one seed. I just don't think the Packers are gonna lose again, as long as this guy's foot holds up. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a big caveat. And for our listeners, our viewers, when you see this, Greg might sound a little suave right now. He might sound a little, kind of laid back, chill. Got the deep voice on, Barry Manilow, 98.7 voice. The reason being, his queen is here from Texas. Y'all can't see, she's behind the camera, but she's here. So he got a little different swag today. So that's why you hear it a little. It's coming a little different here.
I'm also trying to give the CJ a chance to run things, since I talk too much.
This man really do talk too much.
I thought I'd give him a chance. We'll get to basketball.
I hit him in the chat earlier.
We talk about basketball. Don't worry.
Look, and that's your thing, man. Listen. I give credit when credit is due, and you are a basketball aficionado. You are great at covering basketball. Let's hush. I'm talking. No, you're not. No, you're not. College football, you can take a back seat right there. But you lucky Miles not here because you're gonna get a little more airtime tonight.
I wonder how many of our fans care about college football.
See, there you go.
Looking at
it's all about what Greg cares about, not what the listeners care about.
Seriously.
Looking at the interaction based off different posts, we don't get as much love when we talk college football.
But we also don't post college football like we post basketball. Is that fair to say?
Of course not.
Okay. All right. So I think we're gonna need some new trial numbers there.
AFC, right? So we have the final two seeds, 7 teams get in this year. So we got the 6 and the 7 seed. It's kind of looking like in the AFC, and we're going to get to the NFC, it's looking kind of like, that basketball vibe. Those last 7 to 10 seeds are all tight. AFC, 7-6 record by the Colts, Bills, Browns, Bengals, and the Denver Broncos. And Pittsburgh is at 6-6.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, you can kiss goodbye. Let's just say that right now. Sorry, Ariana. I know you're listening, but let's not even talk about them clowns.
The last two seeds. The last two seeds. Who do y'all get? Who do y'all think gets those last two seeds to get into the playoffs?
Run that list one more time.
So we got the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
The Buffalo Bills. The Cleveland Browns. The Bengals. And the Broncos, and they all are 7-6.
It's definitely not going to be the Browns because they're losing this week because they have been obliterated by COVID protocol and all the players they have out. They just said Nick Mullins is about to start, and that's their third string quarterback. So,
hey, that might be a better option than Baker this season.
You ain't lying.
I'm really upset hearing that actually because the Giants are running Mike Glennon out there. You're telling me a team has Nick Mullins out there as their third string?
Nah, they said Jake Fromm might get a lot of playing time for you guys this week.
So excited.
I'm just saying. I'm don't shoot the messenger. I think probably the Bengals, and I would say the Broncos.
Bengals and the Broncos.
I would say Bengals and Broncos. I love Indianapolis and
the Colts aren't making it. The Colts aren't making it.
Can I finish? I was just getting into that. Damn, can I finish? His queen go to the bathroom and he over here talking out his mouth. Was I not just getting that? I said I love Indianapolis,
Uh-huh.
but I can only trust their defense and their running game. I cannot trust Carson Wentz. And I feel like when playoff time comes, as history has shown us with Carson Wentz,
Mhm.
I don't think he's going to step up in that big moment. I would trust the Broncos defense, but I don't know. Things might change because the Bengals play the Broncos this week, and we're going to give them an L. So maybe it is the Bengals and the Colts. What say you there, Gregory?
Who's the last 2 seeds you think that get in?
The Colts and I didn't all the teams you listed. I'll
So-
say Colts.
So before you say the last second team,
I know
before you say the
Colts
last
are a lock.
before you say the last second team,
Colts are a
right?
lock, in my opinion.
Before you say the last second team, right? The other team that Chris did not mention that is in the mix for the last 2 seeds right now. Now they could go on a winning streak and they might be a higher seed after this, but Buffalo is a 7-6 team also.
Buffalo. Oh.
Buffalo has been extremely disappointing this year, though.
Yeah,
Agreed. I can't see Buffalo not making the playoffs this year.
I
Though.
don't
Facts.
know. Buffalo not making the playoffs this year would be utterly insane.
If they
Amazing.
don't make the playoffs,
That would be
if they don't make the playoffs, I have to go back and find every Josh Allen clip that Greg said and post it.
Josh Allen has proved me right a couple of those big throws.
Yeah, but
last weekend.
but
And
he's
they put too much responsibility on him. I know the excuse. If that's what you're about to say, yeah, they don't have a running game.
no,
we said that from the beginning. Okay,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he hasn't been the reason they've been losing games. They've been putting up points. Their defense
Oh yeah,
and their secondary has been horrible.
I'm saying if you pay that guy, didn't they pay him? They paid him like 270 M's.
He got paid.
He got a huge bag this summer, right? I remember him getting a big bag this summer. He was the first of those quarterbacks to get it, and Lamar hasn't gotten his yet. He needs to get his soon. But
I can't wait to play the Ravens again. I love Lamar, but I hope that ankle's not healed up all the way.
Even with Tyler Huntley starting. But
Hey, for a backup,
he's
a clone.
He's real.
He's a clone of Lamar.
Yeah, he's not.
They play the exact same. They talk the exact same. They look the exact
the
same.
Ravens are a world-class organization. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are synced up as a team. So even if they don't have Lamar, it don't matter. They don't have their top corner. It don't matter. They don't have their top running backs. It doesn't matter. They play great football and they're a well-oiled machine. They play great. It doesn't matter.
I mean, look at Huntley's stats last week when he played pretty much the whole game.
And they almost won.
And they almost won.
And they
Like
almost won the
he
game.
plays a clean game. He the first game that he came in for Lamar, he brought them to victory.
Let's get back to the point, though. So you said the Bills are another team that's in consideration.
Mhm.
I it's a question of who I trust more. Do I trust the Bengals or do I trust the Bills? Because it'll come down to those two teams. I think the Colts are getting in. I think they're well coached, and their run game, they take a lot of the responsibility, out of Carson Wentz's hand. Carson Wentz doesn't have to go win the game for you because you have the best running back in the league. You have the best offensive line in the league. You have the great wide receiver and Michael Pittman Jr., and you have other weapons out there too. I really like that team a lot. You have Wally Cox over there too.
Best running back right now.
Carson Wentz doesn't have to win the game for you, but he has to protect the football.
And he does that because they run the heck out of the ball. The ball's on the ground.
Best running back right now, by the way.
Best running back right now, easily.
Because I'm just saying, King Henry, he just injured right now.
Oh.
Because it was just up to the craziest stat. It was just up to last week. He was still number 2 in rushing. The man's been out for like 2-3 weeks.
We think Jonathan Taylor is better than Nick Chubb, a healthy Nick Chubb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
He said, interesting.
That is interesting. Just discredit everything Nick Chubb has
No
done.
one's
over there.
discrediting anything. It's just this guy, Jonathan Taylor, has been incredible. He deserves his credit, and he gonna get his credit right now. He's the best right now. That's just that simple. But I think it's tough. I want the Bengals to prove me wrong and get in.
I appreciate that, bro.
I
appreciate that. No, we spread love on this show. I appreciate that.
I only want them to get in because I like Joe Burrow more than like Josh Allen's a quarterback.
He's a likable guy, Joey B.
No, it's not even about what I
Shout out Joey
mean,
B.
From a football perspective, from a guy who's throwing the football around. This guy's a likable guy. Yeah, it's crazy.
He really is, though, isn't he?
I think he's a better player
Who?
than Josh Allen. I really do.
I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
I don't know. You can put that poll. I guess run up a poll.
Yeah, we definitely will run that up.
Yeah, but I think that I would like to think that Joe Burrow can get these guys in and prove me right. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I also think the Bengals are a little bit more complete as a team, but we'll see how this all shapes out. The Bills don't stop the run, and the Bills will run the ball. So, and what I always say, you don't do those two things, you're not going to win. So, I'll go with the Bengals and the Colts. That's my final take.
My
NFC. We have a similar situation. Difference is the Rams are 9-4, 49ers are 7-6. That's the 5-6. So it's about a 2-game difference right there. After that, though, we got San Fran at the 6th seed, 7-6, Washington 6-7, Minnesota 6-7, Philly 6-7, Atlanta is 6-7. The New Orleans Saints are also 6-7. Who do we see getting those last two spots?
I think the 49ers. And the reason I say that is they played a clean game last week against the Bengals. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have to do too much. There wasn't a lot on his plate. And George Kittle is absolutely amazing. George, he's the difference maker for that team. And on the other end,
Is he the best tight end right now?
No, I don't think George Kittle's the best tight end right now.
Who are you putting over him this season? Not overall, this season.
This season?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm missing somebody obvious.
I'd put Kittle over Kelsey and Gronk this season.
This season,
Darren
definitely.
Waller hasn't been the best tight end. He hasn't.
He has though. He has. It's the past few weeks he hasn't been exciting, but I don't know. Kittle was also hurt for a little bit this year too. So
I think Kittle's the best tight
I
end.
think so far this season, I'm giving it to Kittle.
Yeah, I don't think.
But
that's fair. I mean, I couldn't argue that.
I mean, to derail you.
Kittle would be putting dudes in the ground in the run game. So
that's where I think the difference is.
Difference
Kittle also blocks.
Yeah, the physicality.
Kittle also blocks.
But so does Gronk, though.
Gronk, he's an offensive lineman.
But I'm saying when you see
Gronk is good, but he's also washed at the same time. He's not on the level of a Kelsey or of a Kittle. I don't think he's that caliber of player right now. At his peak, Gronk might be the best tight end ever.
Mm-hmm.
But right now,
I think they play differently too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you can use Kittle and Kelsey way differently than you use Gronkowski, and I think obviously it shows more athletically when Kelsey's out there and Kittle, because they can do more. When they don't have the ball in terms of putting them in motion and doing all these fancy trick plays that are appealing to the eye. But going back to the 49ers, on the defensive side of the ball, they got Nick Bosa, who's a huge difference maker for them as well. And Jimmy Garoppolo has played pretty well.
he played well against y'all. He beat y'all last week.
I mean, you knew that was coming.
Yeah. And I said it. That's what be getting me tight about Greg, is because I'll be humble, right? And I'll say, they played a clean game last week against the Bengals, right? And he always just has to throw his little snarky comment up in there.
If I was you, just because I know how Greg operates, when I said who's the final teams to get in, I'm not even saying 49ers, just because
so you don't bring it up. Yeah, because you know what he'll do? If I don't say it, he'll come up. Are you dumb? Are you serious? You're not gonna mention the 49ers after what they did to you last week?
Who's the second team you think? So you got 49ers getting in there in the second team. We got Washington, Minnesota, Philly, Atlanta, and New Orleans in the mix.
I would say Minnesota. They've played some hard fought games this year. Saints, they're getting Alvin Kamara back. They just got him back last week, but again, their quarterback situation is a mess, and I just don't trust him. I don't trust Philadelphia. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. He's been playing. He played pretty well, but again, he's coming off an injury. And the Falcons, look, Falcons struggled to start off the season, and they've been playing well the past few weeks, but they're playing well enough to get by, not well enough to prove that they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Greg, your two teams.
Niners and Deadskins.
Ooh.
Those are my two teams.
Yo. At some point, I know. At some point, as we continually slowly grow and build and get bigger and blow up, we gonna end up on a shade room because Greg still calling them the Redskins, Deadskins.
He'd be mad disrespectful, right?
It's Washington football team, but he's still Redskins, the Redskins.
That's a dumb name for a dumb organization in a dumb city. I don't got
but we know the reason why
Greg's
we had to change Redskins.
Full disclosure, Greg's opinions are his own.
I called them the Deadskins. I don't even call them the Redskins.
Wait, can I bring something up real quick if we got some time?
Go ahead.
How do you? And this is a question that I've been curious about. I know you was talking and you had high hopes for the Giants this year, right? you had high hopes for the Giants in that week of a division, and you said the Giants was going to be the number one seed coming out of that division this year, and obviously y'all finna be the last seed coming out of the division, unfortunately. But with that being said, how does it make you feel that you were kind of wrong about a lot of the direction you thought the Giants were going to take, and it wasn't about injury. It
wasn't about injury.
I mean, a little bit. Saquon.
See,
y'all was struggling. Y'all was struggling before Daniel Jones got injured.
This is okay. Cool. I'm glad you said that, Chris. I'm glad you said that because I see what you wanted to do with this question. I see what you wanted to do, but you completely failed because you have no idea what the heck you're talking about, per usual. So the Giants have had the most injuries to the offense out of any team in the NFL. They have more guys on injury reserve than any team in the NFL. And I'm coming to you with that's a fact.
More than the Ravens?
Yes. It's crazy. The Giants have more guys on injury reserve. Check it out. The Giants have more guys on injury reserve than any other team in the NFL. Check it out. I saw a tweet about it. I almost put it in the chat. I didn't put it in the chat. The Giants have more guys on IR right now than any other team in the NFL. And I know Proton is getting to the Twitter fingers, typing it in right now. He can type it in, and you tell me. That's a fact.
Because we're not worried about those third stringers that are injured.
The whole Kadarius Toney's missed 5 or 6 games. That's our best. He's our best receiver. 5 or 6 games. Sterling Shepard, per usual, 5 or 6 games. Kenny Galladay, 3 or 4 games he's missed. Who else am I not counting? Saquon was out for most of the first half of the season.
Yeah, but Kadarius Toney wasn't even playing the minutes he was supposed to at the beginning of the season. So it's not like when he was healthy, it's not like y'all was forcing him the ball and things like that.
When he had his breakout game against the Cowboys, after that, they started force-feeding the ball, and that's when he got hurt. Coincidentally, when they started ramping him up, that's when.
Right, but that was like 4 or 5 games into the season.
It doesn't matter. Our record changes dramatically, and in this division, of course, it matters. 2 wins. If the Giants have 2 more wins right now because they force-fed Kadarius under the ball and they had him, or because they had Saquon in the beginning part of the season, then, and you can fact-check and let me know what it is.
Giants have the most players on IR with 23.
Thank you. I know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to this guy, man. Yo, the point is, these guys have had a lot of injuries to crucial parts of their offense all season. Daniel Jones never had a chance. He never had a chance. What I told y'all was that this team could have, and this is not an unpopular opinion, this team had one of the best offenses in the league as constructed with all the free agent acquisitions, with all the draft picks they brought in, if guys stayed healthy, and that didn't happen. The Giants have had a really bad luck over the last couple of years, and it's no different this year. Probably should have known better in that respect, but on paper, this team was supposed to be good. This offense was supposed to be good. Not the worst offense in football. They're the worst offense in football. People are lazy. They're the worst offense in football because everyone got hurt. Every part of the team.
I wasn't even going to call them the worst offense in football.
But they are. They're the worst offense in football. By far. They suck. They're horrible. It's because everyone's gotten hurt. Their second best offensive lineman got hurt, Nick Gates. Literally, Daniel Jones had nothing to work with. I don't like the whole burying Daniel Jones and everyone's doing. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But if I can get Russell Wilson, goodbye, Daniel Jones. I'll see you later. But that's what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, the guy deserves a chance. He's going to be a good player in this league. He's a good player. He's not bad. People putting it
he's shown he's a good player. He's shown he could throw for 405 yards. He's shown he could run.
People telling me, people putting it on, people making it seem like the Giants are just bad because the guys they have brought in are bad. Don't know they haven't been paying attention because these guys have again as many injuries as they've had. We got some fan interference here. As many injuries as they've had,
he called you a fan. He didn't call you his girl. He said you got some fan interference.
They're trying to be professional, but they as many injuries as they've had. No one's had more than that. No one's had more injuries than the Giants. Injuries has been a big part of the Giants' failures. You could talk about Joe Judge and all the coaching staff, but and you know what? He opened up Pandora's box because I was actually hoping to get what's his name, Desi Slice on.
Shout out Desi Slice.
I was trying to get him on the show so we can go back and forth about the Giants. He had some things he had to say that were interesting to me.
We gonna get Desi Slice back on the show.
I want to get him back on the show so we can talk Giants because and talk Giants with someone who knows what they're talking about. Their offensive line.
We need to get her on mic. we need to go before Mike.
Yeah. The offensive line is intact. They are a better offense. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know, not what I think. What I know. He asked me a question based off hearsay.
I was trying to get you riled up, and I did my job.
Yeah, whatever.
Cause you over there sweating. Hold up. Let me see this. You over there sweating.
Transitioning to Kappa facts.
I am sweating though.
More players will do what Travis Hunter did and signing with an HBCU program. Kappa facts.
It depends.
I think in the long run, facts. I think in the short term, I mean, what's more players? Are you talking about seeing it, one player every year, a big name, or are we talking about a majority of signees signing with HBCUs? Because are we talking about people just signing with Jackson State or other HBCUs? I think that's the difference, is that you got Deion Sanders at Jackson State. You don't have Deion Sanders at every HBCU.
I think what the realistic, and I had this conversation with my man Beatty, Don't Worry About Nothing Clothing, shout out to you. He was talking about him as a parent, and he has a son that's playing football. And we had this conversation. Ultimately, if you have a choice between, you could throw Jackson State in the mix. Jackson State, Alabama, a Grambling State, and a Florida. You're not going to do Jackson State 9 times out of 10.
Right.
And it's not any disrespect to the HBCUs in that regard. We love the HBCUs. And for everybody that's watching and everybody that likes to go on social media and be like, oh, you're less black for not choosing the HBCU. Stop. That's not the case. You got to think about your future. A lot of these HBCUs are not funded as well as D1 schools. They don't have the best recruiting class. They don't have the best coaching staff. They don't have the best medical staff. We just saw Master P had to take his son from Tennessee State because they misdiagnosed a hip injury that they found out actually could have went worse and turned out into an ACL injury, and then basically his career would be done. This was at an HBCU, Tennessee State. Master P said himself, he loves the coaching staff there. He loved the school. But for the health, safety, and best decision for his son, hey, we got to send you to the D1.
If you want to know why HBCU wouldn't be a contender for a lot of these D1 athletes, go look up pictures of Howard's dorm rooms real quick, and then this conversation will quickly be over. It's the infrastructure that a lot of these HBCUs are on top notch, but don't be fooled. Okay, the kid made the best decision for him by going to Jackson State because he's a corner. He's gonna go the greatest corner of all time.
Exactly.
Right. And the defensive coordinator, I believe, is also one of the greatest corners of all time, who played with the Cowboys. Like another really great player. Okay, so he made the best decision for him, and this is an isolated decision under other circumstances. This was a quarterback,
wide receiver.
Guess where wide receivers are going? LSU. That's wide receiver U. That's where they're going. They're not going to Jackson State, Grambling State, FAMU. No, it's not happening. It's fine. It's a great story, and maybe then one day this will change. I think this is more likely to change in basketball than football down the line. But we'll see.
I'll tell you this much too before we go to the next one. Deion Sanders about to run them tables.
Oh,
he's about to. He got Coach of the Year in the SWAC. I'm telling you. Now he just got the number 1 defensive back. His son gonna be another year in that offense.
Yeah.
well, the good thing is for Deion Sanders in that program, right? This decision is obviously going to get you some more exposure, and hopefully that comes with more money for updating facilities and things like that down the line. The year he just had this year is going to eventually lead to that. If he continues to run tables in the SWAC and in that division, and we all saw the crowds that he was bringing to the game and things like that. Like those stands were packed, and obviously for kids like Travis Hunter that want to go play there, like they're still getting that D1 experience because
be a powerhouse.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
they will be the powerhouse, but other HBCUs
still going to be lacking. They're going to be lacking.
And that's why I stated before. Is this going to be something where kids commit to Jackson State University and all the other HBCUs are left out?
No. That's not the question. The question is, are kids going to be committed to Jackson State over LSU, Alabama, Georgia? The answer to that question could very well soon be yes.
I think that also depends on how it plays out with Travis Hunter getting drafted as well.
That's going to be fine. Deion Sanders' name rings bells. He's gonna bring more guys to that school. There's more appeal in playing for Deion Sanders than there is in playing for Kirby Smart or
Think
whoever
about-
the coach of Georgia is now.
Even just mentioned in the same HBCU bracket. Did y'all know that Eddie George is coaching in the HBCU?
That's ridiculous. No, I didn't even know that. I didn't even
prove
know
it.
that. Huh?
He coaches at Tennessee State.
Come on, so I'm like, that's crazy. And there have been mad Hall of Famers from HBCU.
That's what you just said. Master P pulled the son from. Where do you?
Yeah, but Master P don't play basketball, so he coaches football for Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Eddie George. But this is a thing where, also, again, like you said, it's from case to case. If you're talking about Deion Sanders as your coach at a HBCU,
You're in good hands.
he is on the aspect too of finances. This man's been a showman his whole life.
They're gonna do just fine to find.
He's been having the whole time he's been there a camera crew. They're going to put out a whole like documentary movie,
Come on.
which is going to bring more exposure to them. And his goal is to bring more exposure to the whole HBCU experience, which I think it'll help. But Jackson State is going to be the ones that reaping most of the benefits.
Yeah, it's not gonna be everybody else. It's not gonna be Howard or
Nah.
it's not gonna be about them or Hampton. It's gonna be about Jackson State.
Now
Because
this-
they got him.
Yeah, now this next one is a little bit heavier of a cap with facts. The NFL should have some legal liability for players that have committed crimes based off of CTE. Cap of facts.
Facts.
If you can make the connection between CTE and the crime, then absolutely. I mean, I know that in the Aaron Hernandez documentary, which was hard to get through for me, they made a connection between his brain damage and the fact that he was a murderer for like the second half of his life. Because the first half of his life, he didn't show signs of being murderous, and then he started playing football. The hits added up. His brain started swelling up from all those concussions, and he developed CTE, and all of a sudden now he's killing guys in cold blood. You know, so if you can draw the connection, yes, the NFL is a powerful organization. Let's be real. I mean, we're talking about the same league where Daniel Snyder has private investigators going to his employees' houses right now as the NFL investigates and telling them to shut up, like literally scaring them out of talking. What do you think the NFL would do? The NFL is funded by guys like Daniel Snyder. They're funded by bad people. That's what we support, a bad machine. The NFL is a terrible machine.
For sure.
That's really all this is. Like at the end of the day, you guys love this sport. We all, and I love this sport, but I understand what I'm supporting when I watch it. It's a terrible machine run by terrible people who you would hate in real life and who you probably should do some jail time because they understand the mental toll it takes on your body, the physical toll it takes on your body, all that stuff. You take guys from these terrible, disenprivileged, these terrible areas, these urban areas, and you have no other choice, and you throw them onto a football field and say, hey, well, this is your way out. Run your way out of the hood. And they run their way out of the hood right into a brick wall, oftentimes into crazy situations. We just saw a guy in this Chargers game catch a football and not move. Now, obviously, that wasn't off contact, but the nature of the sport is violent. It's violence.
Sir.
They're selling violence. This is just violence they're packaging, and they're making it all pretty, and they sell it to us. Christmas Eve, people will be watching football. Guys running into each other full speed. Some guys never being able to walk again. Ask dude from Wes Walker from the Broncos and the Patriots and all that. Dude can barely do it. They said he can't do a puzzle with his wife. He can't do a puzzle with his wife right now because of the damage.
You know me slant.
All them slants he ran when the NFL wasn't instituting all these rules about targeting and unnecessary roughness penalties for hits above the neck, right? So you can change, and that's the thing about that kills me. You can change the rules all you want. You can have all these parents talking about we're going to teach guys how to tackle from the head up and keep their heads up and tackling and play safe. Football is not a sport I'd let my kids play. It's just not, because it's not a safe sport. And to be quite frank, if you look at the demographics of who plays football.
Hey, yo, bing bong.
If you look at the demographics of the guys who play football, it's guys who didn't have a choice. And if they could choose between playing baseball and basketball, and why do you think everybody was so surprised Kyler Murray chose football over baseball? Come on, what are we talking about?
That bag
was waiting for him in baseball, and he chose football instead. And he's great at football. Good for him. I'm glad it's working out. But
that's not everybody's case.
That's not everybody's case. He's also a quarterback. He's protected differently than your cornerback or your linebacker and things like that. So football is a terrible machine. Like that's the best way I can put it. And we support a terrible machine. And these guys who are playing this sport come from nothing and didn't have a choice. That was the reality of it. A lot of guys play because they love playing. Like CJ grew up in Connecticut, played football because he loved playing football. I'm sure you didn't have to. You didn't have to do that. Lord knows you didn't have to do that. You a silver spoon guy. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, that's not everybody's privilege. We don't all have that right. They don't all have that privilege. You know that. You have plenty of dudes who probably didn't have a better option. That's just the reality of it. You have a higher chance of being okay when you're done playing basketball than you do football. Football's crazy. It's crazy. Sometimes I can't believe I support it. Sometimes I can't believe I really watch this stuff. Like, it's really nuts what's happening out here. Every play, someone's hurt. Jared Cook just looked like he just lost a lung a second ago out there.
And Jared Cook looked fine to me. He's running back to the line right now.
Look at him gingerly back to the line. He broke his ankle. You don't even know.
Last one for Kappa Facts. Is Seton Hall men's basketball considered our Cinderella team this year? Are they a Cinderella team in the making, Kappa Facts?
They are a potential Cinderella candidate. Mm-hmm. Are they the Cinderella team? You can't really guess that. They have the makings of one. Mm-hmm. They're a complete enough team to give teams trouble. Yeah,
they're 7-1 right now. They're getting a lot of buzz. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we would. I don't know. Maybe because it's just seeing past tri-state area teams never living up to.
It's because them beating Rutgers wasn't a big deal. Rutgers can't shoot worth a damn. Let's just be okay. Rutgers can't shoot, and that's the reason why they beat Purdue. Nice win. But mm-hmm. Big Ten games are usually ugly. Think about it, Big Ten. These Big Ten games, like Big Ten football games, low scoring, mm-hmm. very slow moving. And Pikel's done a good job turning the Rutgers around. When Ariana first got to Rutgers, when my girl got to Rutgers, and I started going to these games, they were god awful. They've turned it around, but they don't score points. They don't score points, and that's the biggest problem. They play great D, don't score points. But Seton Hall, I don't know about that. I just think they don't have the shooting to be a Cinderella team. I'm worried about that. I think Bryce Aiken's a really good player, and he's getting more accustomed to playing in big time basketball mm-hmm. after playing in the Ivy for so long. But I don't know that I trust guys like Rudin to make 3 shots and Miles Kane to make shots. I don't know how I trust them. Seriously, I don't think they have the shooting to win consistently. They might get the Sweet 16 berth, which would be huge for South Orange, huge for Jersey. But I don't see them going. I don't see them going much further than that.
Now you just mentioned shooting, and one of the players that we all know can shoot and has literally changed the game when it comes to shooting is Steph Curry. We all saw he has now the all-time record made threes, 2,977. He did it out of all places, Madison Square Garden. And of course, because the Knicks ain't got nothing else to look forward to, they stop the game, they celebrate. You got Randall taking pictures with him after the game. I thought it was crazy. They know what time it is. The Knicks might be a playing team this year, but we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about them.
Miles ain't here to defend himself.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them right now. Steph Curry, right?
Yep.
How long do you think he keeps this record? Does anybody break it?
I don't think. Obviously, Steph Curry has years left of playing basketball. If you look at when Ray Allen left the game, right? Mm-hmm. And for Steph to have broken this record when he did in his career this early, that's the scary part about it, is because he's playing great basketball right now. He's obviously shooting out of his mind, but when you look at how many years left he has in his career, the damage he can do between now and then to run this up is going to be hard for someone else to catch it, because Steph is one of a kind when it comes to shooting this rock.
So, Steph's the greatest shooter of all time, but he will not always hold this record. This record will be broken. I think he's going to make 2,000 more threes maybe in his career, mm-hmm. close to that. And it's going to be a crazy number, like 3,000, 4,000. But I'm thinking about the landscape.
That's crazy.
And yes, it is crazy. And he's the greatest shooter of all time. But there's a couple of things. People act like shooting is an innate ability. Like you either have it or you don't. That's not true. You can be taught how to shoot. Shooting is physics. It's nothing more than physics. There's a gift aspect to it that Steph has. Obviously, mm-hmm. he's an amazing gifted basketball player and one of the greatest scorers ever played. But you look at the landscape of basketball, youth basketball, AAU, all that stuff. The way basketball's trending right now, and the way it's going to continue to trend, I think the mid-range shot will come back. It already is, because there's guys play drop coverage and pick and roll, so you get mm-hmm. that. But they're giving up mid-range jump shots. Mm-hmm. They got some guys like Chris Paul, DeMar DeRozan, they can kill. But you're going to see guys who are working on their shot like tirelessly, come into this league and make noise. And there's gonna be guys who are gonna really challenge Steph's record, and it's gonna be because of Steph. Steph's changed this game because people think about shooting differently. Shooting is by far the most important thing you can do as a basketball player. If you can shoot, you can play.
Yeah, but
it really is true. Dion says it all the time. He's absolutely right. It's true.
Coach Mingo.
Shout out to him. It's facts. But I think someone will come in and break that record. I think that's the way.
But how? And that's perfectly fine. I'm sure there's.
It's gonna take a long time.
And that's what I'm asking. How long are we talking? Like
I haven't seen a player
like Steph's gonna hold that record for years.
Of course he can, and he will.
You know the crazy thing
question
too.
Was, will it be broken? The answer is, I think, is yes.
The crazy thing too with Steph, right? You know, Steph could have got this probably like 2-3 years ago if it wasn't for having KD on that squad.
Facts, or the ankle injuries early in his career. There's a couple things that factor.
The thing you mentioned early in his career, at the crazy thing that we think about. You know, at the beginning of his career, this still wasn't even accepted to shoot this many threes.
Well, he has the ultimate green light. There's a difference.
When he first came in, he didn't
credit for that. It's Mark Jackson.
Because when he first came in, he did not. No, he did not have an automatic.
Early Steph Curry in his career, Monte Ellis was running the show, and Steph took a lot. They was butting heads. And Steph took a lot more mid-range jump shots than he did three-pointers. He actually didn't take a ton of threes early on in his career. He was shooting it more at a clip like a Ray Allen. I also say this too: Ray Allen. If the league was what it was now, Ray Allen would have made 5,000 threes
on everything.
People don't understand how good of a shooter. I told you, shooting is all physics, and Ray Allen had it down to a science. His form never changed, never wavered. He is Steph's the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life, but Ray Allen is like right there. And you could argue with me about it. We can argue about it because Ray was.
I don't think anybody, at least on this show, is arguing with that.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller,
Reggie too,
was in this era,
they would have like the 4,000 threes. They would hit 4,000, and they would have played longer. They'd have played longer because you got to remember, kids is crazy. He's talking crazy about Ray Allen on the internet on Twitter. I see early this week.
Even Reggie, people don't even realize Reggie could not do what Steph does, where he's just pulling up, shooting threes.
No, he ran
Reggie,
offense.
Reggie, even back then, at most he was averaging around 5, which is even more phenomenal that he was able to do this. He was averaging around 5-6 3-point attempts,
which is nuts for that time frame. That time,
Joker's averaged about 14 attempts now.
Yeah.
Right now, I was just looking at this earlier. James Harden and Steph, I believe, are in the top 3 or 4 already for 3-point field goals attempted.
James Harden's actually a really good example of what I'm saying, by the way. The fact that James Harden's only 51 threes away from Reggie right now tells you that this record will be broken. Someone's going to come along and be as good of a shooter as James Harden is.
And James Harden, he actually has more. When I remember, James Harden has more attempts even than Steph.
Yeah, because he played with the Rockets. And that's another thing. People give Steph Curry all the credit in the world for revolutionizing basketball and making the three-point shot more prevalent in the game and something that's more accepted. Yo, the Rockets have just as much of a place in that conversation as Steph Curry does, because D'Antoni and Daryl Morey pushing that analytics stuff on us. That was all it was. They just said, hey, yo, you taking a long two. Step behind the line. A long two is a bad shot. Carmelo literally was booted out of there for taking long twos. They were butting heads about that. That was the problem. So I just think they deserve more of a conversation in that whole revolutionizing the game conversation. Like, they deserve more of a place there.
Of course, I'm.
And Real also
it's Golden State and Houston, because now you see teams, and we'll move on to this MVP conversation. Now you see teams like the Jazz that aren't really built to be a Warriors or Rockets team. They're more like the Rockets and the Warriors. They're going to put up the 3 points. They're going to get them shots up, but they're not built for that. We've seen that the last 2 years in the playoffs. Jazz are the number 1 seed.
I was watching a lot of Donovan Mitchell's workouts over the summer, and I saw he was working on that shot exclusively, shooting it from further away. You lengthen your career by doing that. What Donovan Mitchell early in his career, he was always a really good shooter coming into the NBA, but he took a lot of contact going to the basket, like a Ray Allen did. That's why I said Ray Allen would probably hit 5,000 threes if he hadn't had the game he had. People think that he's just a shooter. Ray Allen had a package.
Seattle days.
And he put the dudes in the basket. Like, he was
Seattle
days.
Like
Crazy. So people don't know what they're talking about.
Mr. Shuttlesworth.
They don't call him Jesus Shuttlesworth for no reason. That's not a mistake. Any black dude they call Jesus, just know he's cold. Just do that.
the thing too with the Jazz, and we're gonna transition. They don't shoot. Where Steph is different. Steph shoots it at a high clip, but he's also efficient. The Jazz, as a team, aren't that efficient with the shots.
Yeah, I mean they don't have the shooters that. I mean they don't have the shooter that the Warriors have, or the shooters when Klay comes back. I guess plural, but
now you've been, vying in the chat that you needed to have the floor to, state the case that KD is the MVP without question.
Yeah.
Break it down for us. Why is Kevin Durant, ashy ankles, non-brushed hair the MVP?
None of those two things you said actually matters in this conversation, by the way. But
of course, the KD is the obvious person that all he cares about is basketball. We'll continue.
Yo, I've been on this show numerous amount of times, obviously talking about Steph Curry. We've talked about how Steph Curry has a certain privilege I feel like other NBA superstars don't get. And yes, I've said that it's because he's light-skinned. I still believe that. By the way, I still think it's very true. That's neither here nor there. The reality is, if you look at the two teams from a basketball perspective, just basketball, like just stay with me here. The Nets lost Kyrie coming into this year. On Kyrie's own free will, Kyrie chose not to play.
Mm-hmm.
This team was built to have 3 stars, to have 2 of those stars on the court for 70% of the ball game. Because Kyrie's not on the floor, let's talk about the domino effect real quick, okay? KD leads the league in minutes by a landslide. KD, to the point where it's a concern, where Steve Nash is like, what are we going to do? We have to get him off the floor and get him more time off.
Mm-hmm.
Harden is a shell of himself. Is a shell of himself. There are nights where he scores like legit 14 points. He's like 4-17. Now, the decline comment, we can have that conversation. This is not the time or place. But that's the thing. He's not playing like James Harden. James Harden has been horrible this year by his standards. He's still been very effective, but by his standards, just not the player that we know him to be. And they need his buckets right now, and they're not getting it. So those two things alone stack the deck heavily against KD in terms of the fact that this team shouldn't be where they are.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know KD for? Scoring. He's the greatest scorer of all time. My opinion, I think most people would agree with me on that. Not only is he got to score on this team, he's got to get assists. He's got to get rebounds, and he's got to anchor the defense because we're not a big team. The Nets are not a big basketball team. They don't have rim protectors at all. It's just not there. They don't have the luxury that KD doesn't have the luxury that Steph has in having Draymond Green. You know what I mean? Like Draymond Green covers up your defensive wards. You don't have that in KD and Draymond. So
KD is the Draymond.
Huh?
KD is the Draymond.
KD is our Draymond. Yes, KD is our Draymond. But on offense, he's KD.
Right.
And he's getting assists and he's getting rebounds. He won a game against Toronto earlier this week where we had no one. We had 8 dudes. He played with all rookies and went out there and won the game. Because of him, he had a triple-double. He had a 51-point game in Detroit that they wouldn't have won if he didn't have 51 points. Fact of the matter is, look, he's the MVP off the simple fact that he has to do more with less. And he's doing more with less than anybody in basketball right now. And by my definition, that makes you literally go look up in Webster's, open up Webster's, go the value by being valuable, he's the most valuable player in the NBA. Just off of what I'm talking about, he's more valuable than Steph. He's more valuable than anybody else, than Jokic. There's no greater case in basketball for the MVP award to this point than KD.
He's the Nets at what, 20-8 right now?
That's a 20-8. They're about to be 21-8. They were blowing the doors off of the Sixers. I don't know what the score is in that game now, but they were beating them at halftime. And they just signed Langston Galloway. They have 9 guys on the team. James Harden's out. Most of their key guys are out. Bruce Brown, all those guys are out, and they're still winning a game by 20. Why? KD had 15 at half with like 6 boards and like 6 assists. He's incredible. He's the best player in basketball right now in a league that has LeBron James. And if people who know me, I'm saying KD's the best player in basketball right now. That's a big deal because people know how I feel about Bron. But right now, I think KD's the best player in basketball. I think there's a real case for it, and I don't think it's hard to argue against it. So, and with Steph on the other side of things, Steph's been great. Steph's been amazing. But that team has a lot of things going for it. They have camaraderie. They've been there. All their guys showed up. Obviously, Clay's not there. I understand that. But Clay wasn't there last year either. Jordan Poole took a jump. Statistically, that's not because of Steph. Jordan Poole went out and worked in this game and got better. Okay? Andrew Wiggins having a career year. Otto Porter was a great pickup for them. Draymond Green loves basketball again because it looks like he frankly hated it for about 4 or 5 years there. He's finally playing good ball again. So it's a lot of different factors that lead to that team being 23-4, whatever they are. Like, they're amazing for a lot of factors outside of Steph. Steph has a lot less work to do on a night-to-night basis than KD does to make that team float. That's what I'm saying. Without KD, the Nets would be dead in the water. Simply put. Terrible.
I think as of right now, because the MVP conversation in an 82-game season often goes up and down unless you just see somebody performing out of their mind. Steph started off extremely hot. The Warriors, you can't ignore their record as of late. I'd put in my conversation, you got KD, Giannis, then Steph. Giannis, show him some love, and we transition. They start off 6-8. Since then, they're 11-2. He's averaging 27.5 points, 11.8 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 57% from the field. These last 13 games, 11-2. Steph is in a way better situation in both the two players aforementioned. Flag on the play segment. Y'all know this is how we end off the show. Flag on the play. My man, Isaiah Thomas, has signed with the Lakers. Accept or decline?
Oh, accept. I think he's going to live past that 10-day contract and end up with the team long term for the rest of the year. He's going to force them to keep him and drop somebody. Someone's going to be an odd man out. I think he's been ready for this opportunity for a long time. I think last time he was in the NBA, he was out of shape. You can see it in his face. He had weight in his face. Like he didn't look like IT. He still was just as skilled, but the weight was there. Like I just thought the weight was a problem.
Who gets dropped? Because you still got Kendrick Nunn, who hasn't even played a game yet.
Avery Bradley might be the odd guy out, which is insane because he brings good defense to the table. That's hard. That's hard, yo.
I think honestly, because
don't say Russ.
I wasn't gonna say Russ just can't get dropped. I'm talking about somebody that's gonna have to get dropped. It's probably honestly going to have to be somebody like Kendrick Nunn. Unfortunately, just because he hasn't played, he's injured, and they kind of do the same thing.
They do. They are similar in that.
And the thing is, they can't really afford to release Avery because they don't have that many perimeter defenders.
I agree.
You feel me? So he might be the odd person out. You can't release Reeves. My man just hit the game winner recently.
No, Reeves has been great.
He's been playing.
He's been great all year.
He's been playing good for a young player. So
yeah.
Kendrick Nunn, based off of injury, maybe a Trevor Ariza might get cut.
Maybe Trevor, but Trevor's veteran leadership
and plays defense.
He plays
so
defense, what he's known for.
All I know is we got to run this conversation back with Miles here because he got some comments to answer for.
IT's going to come in and be really good for them. And he's going to end up having to start because I know Westbrook's in COVID protocols.
Mm-hmm.
He might drop 25. He might drop 25 plus.
Off the rip.
Against the Timberwolves.
Hey, you saw what he did. 1 G League game, 42 points. Hey,
I was like,
let's get this call up. Let's get this call up real quick.
Yeah, but that's something that's been building up. That's not like he just came in, like Greg said, he's been working the whole past year. We saw him play, with the national team this past summer, and he showed out there too.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't get a chance, and there was talks about him before the season, playing for the Lakers, and obviously that's when they brought on Russ, and those talks settled. But hey, you stay ready, you don't got to get ready.
Next one for flag on the play. Pride comes before the fall. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. Michael Parsons comes out and says, I don't really think the NFL is hard, accept or decline. He's been balling, but
he's been amazing. He might be defensive player of the year.
Yeah, but there's some things you just don't say because you're shooting yourself in the foot too early. I get that you're having a great year and things like that, but that's fine. But you don't say, it's too easy. I don't think it's that hard. because we've seen how this unfolded in the past with other situations.
Exactly.
Like,
Other players that have said that you put a target on your back,
right,
or you don't back it up, because that's a lot to say. Because right now,
This is the Cowboy
thing.
way.
Of course, it's the Cowboy way.
I hope you're going to touch on that point, because
The thing is, that's crazy. Where if he does win Defensive Player of the Year, he's going to be so full of himself, because the only player that has won Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie is Lawrence Taylor. So he would be in the same conversation, same breath as Lawrence Taylor.
He wouldn't be. Like, I mean, literally in the history books, he would be, but as a player, no, he wouldn't.
Of course, but you got to think.
My God.
Of course, but looking at him already saying off of one season that's not complete yet, I don't think the NFL is really hard. And he gets Defensive Player of the Year, rookie year, bruh, this is typical.
It's the Cowboys, though. This is his coach last week said, "I guarantee a win." Coaches don't do that. That's like a rule of thumb. It's an unwritten rule. You don't do that. You don't come out as a coach and guarantee a win against anybody.
Right.
Okay, period. This is not a thing. So this is the Cowboys. This is it. Like they're flashy. They're a show. This is what they do. They really sell on words. They sell you on words. This is what they do. So I'm not surprised by it. He fits right in. But he is super talented. I will say that he's super talented and deserves credit for his play. He's been amazing. There's no other way to put it.
I'd say pride comes before the fall. Stay humble.
Yeah, stay humble. I mean, look, the NFL, you're one play away from not playing anymore. That's the thing. You're just one play away. It's from not playing anymore. So that's why talking crazy don't make any sense. But
hey, and the other thing too, my man, you kind of started out the season and he was shrugging a little bit, and they was trying to figure out what they was going to do with you. So you moved into a position that now you're flourishing at, but it kind of looked hard when you first started off, though.
Listen. Somebody else did the same thing this year, right? Somebody else did the same thing at the beginning of the year. Justin Fields, the game is slow to me. That's what he said. He said the game is slow to me, and then middle of the season, there's games where you're throwing 4 picks.
Oh, the problem was the game is slow to him. Sure, the game could be as slow as he wants it to be. The defensive linemen that are running right through his Swiss cheese offensive line aren't slow.
That's fine, but that's exactly why you don't, it ain't slow in that moment when you're running for your life. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly why you don't say things like that. You take it as it is. You grow.
You're as good as your protection as a quarterback. You're only as good as your protection as a quarterback. So,
and we got the last one. I know I'm accepting because I got to talk on this one. And it's an accept or decline flag on the play, but it's going to, probably create some more conversation from it. Zion Williamson is out for at least another 4 to 6 weeks. Except I see this as, and I put it up as a poll, this is literally the same thing when KD and Greg Oden was drafted. Portland took Greg Oden. Greg Oden was injured. Didn't turn out well. We just mentioned KD for MVP. He's averaging 29, 7, and 8. Oh, wow. Where's Greg Oden? Playing in the big three here and there. No disrespect. Hey, his body failed him. It is what it is. Zion, my boy, is injured again, is out longer. We see New Orleans is literally a shell of themselves as a team. They don't know what to do. I feel bad for Willie Green as a rookie coach being out there dealing with that nonsense. And then you got Ja Morant, who is flourishing in Memphis. And they look great. And they've looked great since he's been there. Zion, I'll say it. I don't care what he does for the rest of his career. Unless he gets a championship. The man is a bust. The man doesn't take his craft serious. Falling asleep in practices. Talking about he's close to 310 pounds right now. But I think everybody here put together on the show ain't no 310 pounds. Well, I can't speak for you. Never mind. Never mind.
I'm a $190 myself. We definitely more than that. We're probably more than 350 pounds together. We have to be.
Regardless to the fact.
If I'm 190, right?
This ain't gonna be a math show.
I'm just saying, if I'm 190, if he 100 pounds, that's already 290. That's all I'm saying is the numbers are way off.
Zion's a buzz though.
But
I say it like that.
Well, I saw the poll. I see the analogy, and I agree for them. I can agree with it. My only thing is Greg Oden was never 1/10 as talented as Zion is. With disrespect,
that's a fact.
Zion
He's
is
an Ohio
Zion,
legend, though.
Hey, Zion is more athletic, but Greg Oden was supposed to be with
One of the next
one of the top.
greatest big men.
Exactly.
I
So
watched
Zion
Ohio
had
State. I
Zion
remember Greg Oden. I remember him.
Zion had more buzz, but they still both had the potential. The ceiling was supposed to be high.
I remember Greg Oden, and I understand the ceiling was supposed to be high, but it wasn't like Zion. Go back and watch them Duke. Them Duke tapes are crazy.
And even more the
Crazy.
reason why this is an issue that we're talking about. He's supposed to be back now. He's out for another.
Wouldn't you argue that Zion's had more success already in his short NBA career than Greg Oden never had?
Sure, great. That's great. He's still a bust.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not. I agree with you. I think John Morant was. We've talked about this in the show. John Morant should have been. If we did a redraft, John Morant would have gone first, and you could. I mean, Zion. He probably should have gone second, and things get crazy from there. I love talking about that draft. You guys know why, but. Yeah, I agree that he's a bust. I don't know if Chris picked up on what I was saying. You laughed.
RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
Stop playing with me, bro.
Bing bong.
We didn't talk about that because Darius Garland, the guy I was pounding the table for the Knicks to draft, he's balling, and RJ looks terrible. Yo, to Knicks fans, let me run the Knicks. I would get y'all back to prominence. I really do this. Like, I really evaluate talent. This is really what I do. Like, I knew that Darius Garland was going to be this. I knew. Anyone who knows me will tell you. I was texting him. I was talking to him about it. I said, Darius Garland. I kept him Vanderbilt to be. I watched him since high school. I knew he's going to be that guy. I knew it. And it worked out exactly how I thought it was going to work out.
They could probably get Colin Sexton now because he's on the market after this season. There's no need to bring him back.
I agree. First of all, they should trade Colin Sexton. And the Cavs are legitimately very good. And Evan Mobley is a generational talent.
Get healthy, Colin.
And
you gotta find a new dorm room, something. It's done. New housing. It's done up. In Cleveland, it's done up.
New housing. But to go back to your point, I think look, Zion is a bust as of right now. Maybe he trims the weight down and can play again. I hope that he can because it is a gift to get to watch that guy play when he's right because man, like I never see nobody at that size move that way, but also we're kind of seeing why guys at his size don't move that way because if they do, they fall apart, and he's falling apart right in front of our eyes.
When it boils down to it, Zion is discipline, and we see in this country, we are one of the fattest countries in the world. We deal with obesity a lot because we don't have discipline to close our mouth, put the food down. Matter of fact, if you want to still eat your fried chicken and all that, we don't know moderation in this country at all. We don't understand that. We don't get it. But guess what? On this show, we value every aspect of us individually of what we need to do to be the best version of ourselves. So within that, we stay ready so we don't have to get ready. Bench Mob, we out. Peace.